Hi, I'm Kaytlyn,
And I'm Brianna.
and welcome to the Readers Clubhouse, where we revisit our childhood favorite content. Oh, Brianna, it's finally a sunny day.
Yes.
We had
Kinda.
a bunch of sunny days last week, and then it's been rain ever since.
Yeah. It was raining really hard 2 days ago. Something like
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah.
It was. It
Yeah.
was indeed. Yeah.
We didn't okay,
I
cut
assume that
this.
you have. We should
I
not cut this. We should keep this in.
I didn't realize you were starting, and then I was like, oh, and then we didn't talk about who was gonna ask what or whatever. So I was just like, wait, where are we going with this? Because we did the intro, and then you're like, Brianna, and I'm like, is she gonna do the puzzle question? And so it threw me off, and I didn't know where you were going with that.
Well,
Okay.
no, I was just making conversation the way that
Okay.
people who know each other well do by talking about the weather.
It's definitely not the one you use with acquaintances that you barely know.
Nope. It's the one you use with
Okay.
everyone, Brianna.
Okay.
I'm totally keeping this in, by the way.
Oh, fun.
You're
We'll
welcome.
love that.
They
So, Kaytlyn,
Hi,
do
I'm here.
you are here. Do you like puzzles?
Not at all. Nope. Hate
Why?
them. They're the worst. I'm just kidding. What are you talking about puzzles? Are we talking about jigsaw puzzles? Or are we talking about mysteries and riddles to solve to think? Are we talking about escape rooms? Are we what kind of puzzles are we talking about?
Well, honestly, any kind. The kind that we talk about in this book, which is why I'm asking this question, is like riddles and
Hmm
stuff.
hmm
Uh to find other things. It's kind of like weird way to put this, but it's like a escape room-esque kind of a
Sure.
thing where you have to find the things to find the items to get further into the
Yep.
set escape room and stuff. But honestly, any kind of puzzle, whatever, if there's like a type of puzzle you like or like a type of puzzle you don't like, that works too.
Yeah, I mean, I do like puzzles. I like most kinds of puzzles unless they involve math. I'm
Mm.
sorry to math, but I'm not good at it. Um, I struggle with it. Yeah, I don't know that I have a favorite type of puzzle, but my favorite type of games to play tend to be games that have puzzles in them of some sort,
Mm.
whether it's like interactive mini games that require you to, put pieces in the right place, or a classic like okay, it's Legend of Zelda. Okay, let's just be
Yeah,
real. Legend of Zelda is a puzzle series,
it
like
is.
long before it's a sword fighting series where you fight monsters. It is a puzzle series.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite puzzles, it's also frankly one of the most challenging puzzles I did, is in Twilight Princess. It's in the Temple of Time, and
Yeah.
there's the two statues that like jump opposite of each other essentially, and you have to move
But
both
yeah.
statues
But you
to
jumping
certain.
also moves them.
But
Yeah.
you jumping also moves. I forgot about that. Yeah, so that one absolutely got me stumped for a long time.
Yep.
I eventually finished it, obviously. I'm
Yeah.
sure I had to look it up probably if we're being fully honest.
I give it
Um,
a good college try
uh-huh.
the first two or three times, and then I'm like, I'm here for the story, not for
Yeah.
this. And then I look it up on
Yep.
Google or whatever.
Yeah. There's also
Yeah.
this other game called Gorogoa,
Mm.
and I played it on my Switch. A friend from the UK actually recommended it to me. And it is super cool. The art is really beautiful, and it's just like these rooms that are designed just intricately detailed, really beautiful. And it's like riddles, visual riddles inside of like larger pictures, and there's like zooming in and out, so you get like one square picture. You have to zoom out to look at the bigger picture, and then sometimes you zoom in, and every time you go to a new level, there's a section of the puzzle that you like zoom into or something. It is really
Mm.
beautiful, just visually very stunning. And
Love that.
also I love the idea of visual visual puzzles, not like jigsaw puzzles, but
Yeah.
like rather than word riddles or like the riddles in this book, they're all about the words and they're all about the, you know, um phrasing of certain things and super cool. I love those.
Yeah.
But this one was really unique and I really liked it. Anyway, this is my
Yeah.
long-winded answer of saying yes, I like puzzles. The ones I don't like involve math. Um, I can't think of any other ones I don't like off the top of my head.
Yeah. Mine's kind of similar. I enjoy puzzles to a degree, but I also don't like spending a ton of time on them and stuff. Like,
Right.
it's funny because I actually do technically play puzzle games on my phone and
Hmm.
stuff, but I don't like to think about them too much. So
Hmm.
if it starts getting too hard, I usually will be like, all right, I'm moving on from this. Or I'll come back to it like 6 weeks later and be like, okay, I guess I'll play around with this again. And I can move forward a little bit more. But like I'm a terrible person with riddles. I'm gonna
Mm.
be honest. Like my brain a lot of the time I I've said this to people. I'm not stupid, but I am slow sometimes. And it makes me seem very like spacey, and I can
Mm.
be for sure, but I it takes me a while to process things, and that makes it hard sometimes for things like riddles or puzzles because
Mm.
I it just makes me feel really stupid. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
honest at times. And there's nothing wrong with taking things slower for sure and
not at all.
stuff, but no. But it makes it definitely hard for me to like feel get into puzzles a lot of the time because of it. I still
Yeah.
enjoy puzzle games. Like I also love Legend of Zelda, and sometimes I really like figuring those out and stuff. Like I good example when we were talking about the other day about what was it? I forget what it was. We were talking about like games and we brought up Hades, and the reason
Mm.
why that I was able to like play Hades even though it's a type of game that I usually do not like is because it rewards me with the
Yeah.
thing I do, which is in-depth relationships, whether that's platonic or romantic.
Yeah.
And also just story, like it drops story every time you do a run through it and everything. As long as puzzles reward me significantly, I will try harder a lot of the time. But if they don't, with the things that I actually like if it's just like that, I will just drop them after a while if it's not something
Yeah.
I can figure out quickly. So, uh, maybe that's lazy. I don't care.
I don't think
Yeah.
that's lazy. I think it's just our brain does seek rewards for the things that we do. And so if you've
Mhm.
got a particular avenue that your brain releases dopamine and that's the way that like for me, Hades does not release dopamine. I made it
No,
through
yeah.
one time of beating Hades and meeting Persephone, and then I was like, I have to do this again?
Yeah.
You are kidding me. And then I give up.
Yeah. No,
So,
I played a I played a it was like a what's it called? A dating sim sort of, but it was one that was like an early process and I don't think the creator ever finished it. But you only had there's only one love interest and they were like a what's it called? They were a delinquent because this was set in Japan or
classic.
whatever and stuff. Yeah. And the main character's afraid of delinquents, but they run into one at the beginning.
Okay.
And the funny thing about it is the this isn't like a normal one where you like there's right and wrong answers. There always is a right there's like right or wrong answers. But if you say the wrong answer, the delinquent will punch you and you have to start all over again.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I was so determined to get to the end because I was like, I had to know how this works out. And that was the dopamine for me. I literally wrote down notes. I'm like, okay, so this is the wrong answer. Thankfully, it had a skip button, so you could skip like for like
Okay.
you could there was like a fast forward button, so I could just like fast forward to the options and then keep going until I got to more story and stuff. But it took me like a couple of days, I think, to get through it because of it. Because it's like so I would get a little bit frustrated after a bit. I'm like, okay, I need to take a break, and then I come back to it, and then I kept
That is
going.
true dedication.
It was, and then I even got the terrible ending because there was one point in the game where you didn't get punched for the wrong answer, But it's what set you on the bad path and
Oh my
everything. And
gosh.
I was like, you gotta be kidding me. What did I do wrong? And I had to look it up, but because it was such a niche game, there was very little on it. So it took me a bit to find the right answer. So those kinds of puzzles I love
Yeah.
because I'm like, I'm getting something out of this. I'm getting some interesting story. In this case, it was like, will they, won't they kind of a
Hmm.
thing, but
Hmm.
with a delinquent that punched you if you were wrong. So
Wow.
I don't know. This, yeah.
That
So
is dedication to the
it
craft, Brianna.
it is. I will 100% lock in if you give me something that my brain is like, yes,
Have you heard of
we
a
love
game called
this.
Micro Macro, a board game?
No, I don't think I have.
I played it on Sunday with some friends and it was so cool. It's basically this big sheet of paper and then a bunch of cards, and the sheet of paper has into intricately detailed little figures and things like that. And it's
Mm.
basically called Crime. You're in a city called Crime City, and each of the there's like a sets of cards for each crime, and I think there's like 20 crimes or whatever. And
Nice.
you have to go through, and one person is reading the cards, and then the rest of the group is um trying to solve the crime, basically. So it started out with us finding two bodies. We had to look on the paper and find, it was like look in the forest and look on the riverbank, and you have to follow the riverbank and look at everybody on the riverbank and where do you see the body, and then the same thing over in the forest, and then you have to be like, okay, this is the way they look, but now I have to find where they're going and you have to follow. It was absolutely fascinating, and they've got a little like magnifying glass thing that you have to go because the
Yeah.
picture is so small. It's actually really fun, and my friend and I were stuck because we were like, okay, we've been given a hint by her husband who's the one reading everything, and we were just like, is it this? Is it this? Is it this? And he's like, no, 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 no. And then she kept asking like, are we hot or cold? Are we hot or cold? And he's like, cold, cold. And then we said something and he's like, warmer. And then we were like, oh, okay, so it's in this area. And then I was like looking at something and I'm like, is it the van? And he's like, ding, 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 it's the van. And we were like, we literally mentioned everything other than the van in this entire, like, in both sections. And he was like, wow, guys, I took you a while.
Uh,
Anyway, and then
but you
later
got there eventually.
we did, but then later in the thing, as we've got a suspect and we're looking for something, and then we're looking around, we're like, we can't find the things. And then he's like, it's got something to do with something you discovered earlier. And then I was like, it's the van. And he was like, yes, it is the van. And then Catherine, sorry, name drop. I'll bleep that out. My friend and I just went like, oh my gosh, not the van again. I can't believe we forgot that. So
That's
it's
hilarious.
really fun. And they've got like other it's not quite expansion packs, but like other sets. And then you can
Yeah.
put all of the maps together in one thing.
Oh,
But
I
also,
love
one
that.
of these maps covers a table,
Oh,
basically. It's like
oh,
2.5, possibly 3 feet by, like, it's massive. And
that's
so then you put
hilarious.
them all together and you have to, like, well, anyway, it's
I
really
love
fun.
it.
I want to get them all because they're really fun and it'd be fun to like play in different groups. So,
Yeah, definitely.
well, we've spent 20-ish minutes now talking about puzzles, which is not the
Yep.
point of this podcast.
It's
Would you
not the
like
point
to
of the
transition?
podcast, but it is the point of the book.
It's the point of the book and it's the point of our transition question.
It
But
is, yes.
would you
All right.
like to get into some book stats? Let's go.
Yes. So, guys, this week we are moving forward finally in
Oh,
Redwall. We are not
time
hopping
progressing
around.
forward.
Yes, forward. We are not hopping around all over the place like crazy people in the past of Redwall. We are moving forward.
Yeah, who decided to
So,
do that? That was dumb.
uh, honestly, I don't remember which one of us decided that was a good idea, but
It was a joint effort, Brianna.
it was a joint effort. That's true. So, some things you got to know, guys. Uh, just for clarification, like I was saying just now, most of the books, except for one, were pre-Redwall that we've read up to this point. So keep that in mind. All of those books, all of that lore that we've talked about are things that happened before now. And that's gonna be the case going forward. At this point, as far as I know, none of the books that he wrote after a certain point were set in the past and stuff. So keep that in mind. This one is the Pearls of Lutra, and in this beginning of what me and Kaytlyn have been referencing is the Krega Saga, which is a group of 3 books that, or no, this isn't it, actually the beginning of it. Sorry. I forgot. I keep mushing it together because they do connect the characters a
Yeah.
lot. So part of the reason why I was a little bit confused, guys, is because what happens for a good chunk of time is Brian connects the books from one to the other by having characters who are either like little kids or whatever be adults or elders in the next book. So some of the characters from this book will be elders or adults in the next book. So that's what like confuses me. Next book, next week or 2 weeks from now, will be the beginning of the Krega saga. There we go.
Yeah.
So, Pearls of Lutra was written in 1996 by our friend Brian Jakes, and it's a fantasy fiction book, and is usually like set for middle grade kind of a thing, but it can be enjoyed by anybody, as is the case that since we're mostly enjoying our reread of this book, or these books so far with this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So, I am going to read my summary. I apologize, guys, it's a little long. There's a lot that happens in this book. All right. Across the ocean is the island of Sempetra, where Ublas Mad Eyes, a pine marten, rules over sea vermin and giant monitor lizards. But things are not at all peaceful on the warm tropical island. Ublas seeks the tears of the sea, 6 pink pearls, and he has sent one of his ships to Holt Lutra, where the otters have kept them. The otters of the Holt are slain except one, Wrath. Wrath was the daughter of Lutra, the leader of the Holt, and now she seeks revenge for the death of her brethren. Before the sea vermin that were sent to retrieve it can bring them back to though the pearls were stolen by 2 of their own and taken to Mossflower Woods. Only one of them lives, though, and stumbles his way into Redwell Abbey after being injured in the head. Once this information is relayed to Ublas, he sends one crew and a score of his monitor lizards to get the pearls back. But Ublas has other worries as well, for the other captains are not happy with his role and start to try and overthrow him. At the Abbey of Redwall, a young hedgehog maid named Tansy stumbles upon the clues that show that the pearls are hidden in Redwall Abbey. For the vermin that had brought them had been friends with an old squirrel who hid them before the vermin ran off and died in Mossflower. She begins the process of looking for them along with some other friends. After some time, the vermin that Ublas sent arrive finally and find that 2 of the Abbey's denizens are outside its walls, Abbot Durrell and Viola the Bankful. They take them captive and tell the Redwallers they want their pearls in exchange, but the vermin do not know who they are dealing with, as Martin, the son of Matameo and grandson of Matthias, is the warrior of the Abbey, and he will stop at nothing to get his friends back. He chases them, and they flee to the coast back to their ship, where they set sail, though Viola is able to escape before they set off. As Martin chases, he eventually runs into Grath, who has been killing any vermin she comes across. She helps them chase off after the vessel. After some help from the Gaussum shrews, they set off across the ocean, run into some seal folk, and find a mysterious hidden island of otters where they're able to gain some more help. Abbot Durrell is on a pirate vessel. What's even worse is that the vermin and the monitor lizards have had a falling out and kill each other, leaving the poor old abbot alone in the sea for days before the ship lands on Sempetra, where he is currently in the middle of a small war. Ublas has lost control of the vermin who served under him. He is betrayed first by the captains, then their crews, and finally his trident rats, the ones who were meant to be most loyal to him. Ublas is now holed up in his castle in an attempt to hold his power. Meanwhile, back at the Abbey, Tansy and the other Redwallers continue to look for the pearls. It is a frustrating set of puzzles that the small group of friends make their way through. It even ends up being perilous as one of those helping ends up dying tragically. But eventually they find all 6 of them, and they wait for their warrior to return and let them know if the pearls are needed to get the abbot back. Back on the island, Martin and his crew have finally arrived. Taking advantage of the chaos that has occurred due to the war going on, they are able to steal a ship and cause further chaos of their own. Their interference causes both sides to fumble, and the vermin horde is in disarray and Ublas on the run. Grath is able to get revenge for the murder of her family. Martin follows Ublas down to the depths of his castle, where he keeps a poisonous snake that he controls with his hypnotic eyes. In the battle between the two, Ublas is pushed back and steps on the snake, who bites him in retaliation. Mad Eyes falls to the creature's poison, never to rise and harm gentle beasts again. Martin and the others head home on their ship, delivering Grath to the hidden otter island, where she can finally live in peace. Tansy, in the meantime, has had a vision telling her to go to the sea, and she does so with friends that helped her find the pearls. They wait, and finally, one day, Martin and the others, who helped him, arrive on the shore, where they greet their old friends. Tansy doesn't know what to do with the pearls since Graff did not come back with that for them, but Abbot Durrell asks her to decide. After a moment, she throws them into the sea, where they cannot harm any beast with their beauty again. Abbot Durrell then tells her she is to be the abbess, and they all head home to feast and celebrate that all is safe in Mossflower Woods once more.
Nice.
Thanks.
That was enough time for me to eat my banana. That's what's important here, guys, is a snack. I mean, in this book series, snacks are very important, okay? Let's
Very
be real.
true. Yeah.
Food is a character in this series.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was a lot. There's
It was a lot.
I've got a lot of thoughts on this one for
Okay.
a series of reasons. I wrote none of them down, so we'll see how this goes. The big thing to talk about, I guess the first thing to talk about, the riddles.
Yes.
Because we've got obviously classic songs, lots of ditties celebrating nature, celebrating traveling. Ooblas's little like refrain that he chants as he's hypnotizing the snake, which for the first time, I think, and that I can remember in rereading these, that is the first time that a song or a phrase or a chant has been repeated.
Throughout a book?
Yeah. And I'm talking something that's not a puzzle. Because usually they'll repeat a puzzle a couple of times because they're trying to like, discuss it or whatever. But that wasn't a puzzle. That was just something that he sang or chanted to the snake. First time that I can remember actually repeated, which is crazy to me. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Not that crazy, actually. It was just interesting. But it made sense too. The continuity of he chanted it one time, he's seeing the snake again the second time later in the book.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. Yeah, the puzzles, again, as we were talking about, they're word puzzles. So
yeah,
a lot of I'm gonna go get my book because I want to read a couple of them.
Okay. I don't remember where I put mine.
I love a good old puzzle. One of the things I also loved is how here we go. Okay. One of my favorite things about this book is that you've got Rollo, who is a creature from Matameo.
Yeah.
He was the baby bankful whose mother was killed when Slagar.
He was also very bloodthirsty too.
He was very bloodthirsty.
He sang songs about
chopping off tails and all that, yeah. Super bloodthirsty.
I made this comment to you the other day, and this carries through a lot in this next set of books, is the most mischievous Dibbins become elders in the next books a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
It is really funny. I agree. And it's I think I said this to you, is that it's a testament to the parenting of the people, the Abbey dwellers.
Yeah.
They're mischievous little squirrels and Dibbins. They're Dibbins end up becoming the most responsible grown-ups.
Yeah.
I think there's something in letting kids be mischievous and silly and fun. And then as they get older, it's actually there's a line in Bluey, not to mix worlds, but like the Bandit, the dad, is trying to teach Bluey chess, and she and Bingo just keep going like, this is a horsey, this is a prawn, this is a cute little kid speak essentially. And Chili steps in, she loses the game, but then says to Bandits like, we can work on their brains later, but let's work on their hearts first. And I think that's a really healthy way of looking at it, especially for Dibbins, which are often portrayed as like 3-year-olds.
Yeah.
Or like 3 to 5-year-olds. I think just saying we'll work on their responsibility, their wisdom, their, bravery. We'll work on those things later, but for
Yeah.
now, let's work on their hearts, which I think is
Th-
really
You actually do see
incredible.
that a lot with the way that like teen slash young adult not critters, gentle beasts or
Yeah,
whatever, are treated a lot of the time
yeah.
is there is more of um, that responsibility and that kind of a thing at that time. Like actually a really good example in this one,
Mhm.
trying not to get too much away from we're talking about the puzzles,
Yeah,
but Tansy and Arvin
yeah,
in this.
absolutely. I was thinking the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah. Because Arvin is a Dibbin
Mhm.
and he's and then Tansy's kind of like probably somewhere between 18 and 20 if you're thinking younger.
Oh yeah, she's
It's so interesting that they would make though a character that young Abbess and stuff. So it's the
yeah,
thing is like these are animals, so like their concepts of it's
maturing
also
and
maturing
age
or
are
yeah,
different.
because technically we talked about this before, but we'll talk about it probably multiple other times. They don't do years, they do
Hmm.
seasons, is how old a character is. So like the time it takes for the whole thing to happen between the beginning of the book and the end of the book is like 2 seasons or
Yeah.
something like that. So like she does like age as it goes on. But like
Mhm.
she's a young beast, let's just
She
say
is, yeah.
that.
Well, it
Yeah.
says chapter one, very first things, though Tansy was still only a young hedgehog, she was known to be a veritable rock of good sense by the elders of Ardwell Abbey.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's a very interesting dynamic between her and Arvin because they are
Yeah.
those two dynamics of Arvin is a little crazy
Chaos
kid, like
Gremlin.
chaos gremlin, thank you. And him and his two little mole friends are
Uh-huh.
always getting into trouble, and it's funny and stuff.
I agree.
So yeah, it's very interesting.
Yes. Completely agree. There's more to say on that, but we can save
Yeah,
that for a bit later.
characters, yeah.
But the first thing, so this is in chapter 13. It says this is the rhyme left by the ancient squirrel who helped the vermin.
Yeah.
Look not up nor to the four main points, but where our paws do tread the dead oak joints. There wrought by Mother Nature neath the main lies that which holds the beauty or the bane. And I just find it really interesting because I love Brian's. I don't know. I thought the word things were really cool. And that
Yeah.
one, I'm like, I think the other problem is that I've read this many times.
Mm-hmm.
So there's parts of my brain that are like, hang on a minute. I
Yeah.
remember this one.
Yep.
Like, um, I want to find the here we go. Okay. Okay, here we go. I shed my second tear into the cup of cheer, but look not into any cup, the answer's written here. My first is in blood and also in battle, my second in acorn, oak, and apple. My third and fourth are both the same, in the center of sorrow and twice in refrain. The fifth starts eternity ending here. My last is the first of last. Oh dear. If I told you the answer, then you would know. 'Twas made in the winter of deepest snow. It's just fun little word games like that I think Brian is really good at, and I like the puzzles that he does in those ones. So, but yeah, so I think the pearl puzzles are really interesting. There's five of them. Um, I know six of them technically because it was the first one that set out the first puzzle. So there's six puzzles. The crew has to find them. The crew being Rollo, the bankful recorder, Tansy, the young hedgehog, and then a pair of squirrel friends named Cracklin and Picknim. And it's really interesting a lot of things that happen to them
Mhm.
because they get attacked, they get all this stuff happens, and unfortunately one of them, Picknim, ends up dying, which is which was
Yeah.
very sad. I
Yep.
I will say that part made me a bit emotional, as like the two young maids are crying and Rollo's stuck in a ditch.
Yeah.
The owl is protecting like the corpse of the little squirrel maid, and then all the skipper of otters and Martin has to go in. And it's just really, really sad. Yeah, did you have any thoughts you wanted to share on the pearl puzzles?
Not really. I think you said a lot of the main points of them. It's puzzles is always a really big part of Redwall, but this one is a little bit different than other ones because that's the only one I can remember right off the top of my head right now is in Redwall
Mhm.
when Matthias and Methuselah are trying to like
Yeah.
figure out stuff and everything. And then other books we get like one puzzle they try to figure out either to go find something or something like that and
Hmm.
stuff. But this one we literally like get a clue and then
Hmm.
find an item and then get a clue and then find an item. And and it's a little bit more in not in depth, but like there's more steps to it than there
Yeah.
are in a lot of the other ones. So like it's very interesting how this one is focused on that.
Hmm.
And also just the, I guess it's so funny because they're like trying to, and it's not necessarily funny, but it's interesting because the whole point of trying to find all of the pearls,
Yeah.
at first it's just, oh, there's pearls
Yeah.
kind of a thing. And then it's like, oh no, we need to find these to help ransom back our friends. But then our warrior buddies are just like, nope. And then they go and they save everybody, and then that's not even a warrior anymore. But they put on this effort, and like a friend is lost during the course of this.
Yeah.
And I feel like in the end, it was all that journey to find them. While it didn't come to fruition of what the original intention was
Right.
for looking for them, in the end, the journey, I think, is what caused Tansy to throw away the pearls into the
Yeah.
ocean in the first place because her own journey helped shape her feelings towards it as well. Because
Yeah.
I think that the story needed something drastic to happen on the Abby's end after all of the bad guys left and everything. Because that was like
Right.
the big thing. It's like, oh no, Abbott, Durrell, and Viola were taken, and that's like sad. But after the bad guys left and tried to go back, um, the Abby didn't really have anything they had to like particularly worry about at the time and stuff. So they could have gone kind of they were so worried, but they could have come back to mostly to normal. But because of them still looking for the pearls to try to help, they end up losing somebody. And also, a very interesting fact with that, we Saint Ninians is burnt down.
I was going to mention something about that when we got to the
Yeah.
world building and story.
Yeah. So that's we'll come back to that in a second and everything. But it's just interesting that not interesting, but like I do think it was needed to have something drastic happen because
Absolutely.
while Tansy and everybody obviously has been through things and stuff and they've like lost their abbot, having that hit home so close of like lives are lost when these pearls are involved,
Yeah.
I think just emphasized her choice in the end even more.
I completely agree. And actually, we may as well transition into world building story because we've talked
Yeah.
about all of the things beforehand.
Yes.
I think you're so right that it was really well done the way that it's putting the contrast between treasure and relationships and
Yeah.
like material possessions and the community and the people that you meet along the way, basically. Um, that there's a value on life that should matter more than even the most precious of jewels or precious
Absolutely.
of pearls, I guess. I think I really appreciated that there was this theme running through that people are greedy. I guess creatures, not necessarily people. Well, you know what I mean. The
Yeah.
creatures are greedy, and so there's a quest for, and there's a hunger, especially Ublaz. Ublaz is sort of the I don't know if foil is the right word, but the opposite of Tansy. They're both
Yeah.
looking for the pearls, but what Ublaz is willing to do to get the pearls is kill anybody in his way. And
Yeah.
Tansy's like, I just want to solve these riddles to find the tears of the sea.
Hmm.
And as Martin, the ancient warrior in my dreams, told me to give them to the one they belong to.
Yeah.
And in the end, She does. She gives it back to the ocean, and because they belong to the ocean. And I think it's just really interesting storyline. I also find so we got okay, let's talk about world building, let's talk about locations. We do not
Okay,
visit Salamandastron in this
at
one
all,
at
which
all.
is
There's
weird to
not
me.
even like there's barely a ghost of a mention of it, other than
Yeah.
Orlando the Axe wandered off to Salamandastron at some point, as badgers are often meant like do, and that's essentially it.
Oh, I forgot another connection between Madame Ale and this is
Amma.
Alma is the Badger Mom in this
Yeah,
one.
she is. This is true.
Yeah.
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 Um, there's a few other ones I can't remember all of them. It's been a while since I read Matameo, but Rollo and Amma are the two big like the two main ones, I guess.
They're, I think, the only ones still
I thought
left.
the maybe, I don't know.
It's from what I vaguely remember, they're the only two left alive, like, uh, in everything. I will say sometimes some of the characters that logically would make sense to still be alive are not mentioned in some of the other books, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know why you dropped that, but sure. So
Yeah.
there's that. But yeah, going back,
But okay, yeah,
Salmadashron, sorry.
because there's also the age thing is a bit confusing because
Oh yeah.
Rollo should be like so ancient at this point. And Martin too, Martin the second.
But Martin was born like Rollo was like a little toddler when all of that stuff happened,
Yes.
and Martin wasn't even born.
He was born not long after.
I mean, Madame Mayo was like Tansy's age.
Yeah, but also it even says like at the end of Matameo that, you
Yeah, but
know,
that was because some time had passed at that point.
but not a lot of time had passed.
Okay, so
Here's what I'm
let's.
trying to say, Brianna,
Okay,
is that Martin is portrayed as like a man in his 30s, maybe 40s, and I truly feel like he should be 60s or 70s because
mm.
Rollo's like 80s or 90s. Amma also 80s or 90s because Amma was older than
Alma's.
Rollo.
Yeah, Alma was like is was the same age-ish, like the
A
same
little
like
bit older than Matameo.
grouping of Madame.
Yes.
So
So it makes
yeah,
sense that Alma's still alive because she's
but
a badger.
she is, yeah.
You know what I mean? Rollo, I'm like, hmm, interesting. And Martin, obviously he's still alive because he was a babe, he was born after it. But I'm like,
Yeah.
you are portrayed as this younger, sort of middle-aged, mature mouse fellow. And what about but anyway, I just have some questions, and also,
Yeah.
never mind. I just have some questions. It's fine. It's fine. So we have San Petro, which is the island, tropical
Yeah.
island. You mentioned to me, you texted me when you were reading it that it reminds you a bit more of an island with a city on it than some of the other
Yes.
ones we've experienced.
That's right,
Which
yeah.
I agree because I agree to a point. There's the
Yeah.
castle and there's the taverns on in the
Yeah.
docks, and that's essentially the entire island is caves, castle, uh, docks,
Yeah.
which is different from what we've done before. So, um, interesting. It's a tropical island, which makes sense because the lizards are there and they're warm or they're cold-blooded creatures, so sort of would seek out tropical, warmer locations.
Yeah.
We also go to the hollowed out mountain in the ocean, which
Hmm.
is the tribe of Holt Rudering, which
Yeah.
is otters, and then never visit there ever again.
No. I mean, that's most locations.
I know it's
Except for Salamandastron and Redwall. Most places you visit maybe once or twice.
I
Or as a
know,
mention
and
once or twice.
I'm a little bummed about it on a world
Yeah.
building level because this is such a cool island and such a
Yeah.
cool concept. And to think like there's this tribe of otters who have never heard of Redwall
Yeah.
because they just live out like they live on this island and they live, they it's just it's so cool. And then you have the Sea King,
Hmm.
who's a seal,
Yeah.
Hom,
Home.
home. And it's just, again, we get seals in the last one who can speak perfectly fine English.
I will point
Or
out
sea lion.
for our readers' benefit, this book, Pearls of Lutra, was written before The Legend of Luke, which is the one we talked about previously.
Oh,
So
okay.
this is earlier lore, technically, in the writing chronology, like the writing publication thing, than Luke is. So he made a choice later to make a seal or whatever type of sea creature it was in the seal family or whatever to be able to talk, and in this
Okay.
one have their own language basically and stuff.
Where's the continuity, Brianna?
There isn't any
I
continuity. Like
know.
the only continuity is Redwall.
And
That's the
even
only con.
then,
It's a little
even
what's that
then,
what's that Doctor Who phrase?
wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Yeah.
I knew exactly where you're going with that, man. Yeah, I think there's some other interesting things around characters. We get Redwall location. I don't know. There's some traveling.
It's this book isn't as much about like all the places they go. It's literally Redwall and Sempetra and a little bit like places around those places, but it's all about the journey from Redwall to San Petra, whichever direction it's
Absolutely.
going and stuff. And there's like again, there's like the whole Lutra, but like it's not actually mentioned. And we have Brath kind of on the coast walking up and down,
Yeah.
trying to
Get out
to
to
like
sea.
yeah, get out to sea and figure things out and stuff so she can get her revenge. But like it's literally like point A and point B, and that's
Yeah.
it, really, with a few other like stops. Unlike some of the other books where there's
Hmm.
like, we stop here with this group of people, we stop here
Yeah.
with this group of people, and then oh, like then they eventually get to the place they're going. This one's just straight up, it's a rescue mission,
Yeah.
um, and everything. So that's kind of like one of the interesting aspects of this is this book doesn't feel as like I don't know. It doesn't feel as wandery. That's not
Yeah.
a word, but like it's very much like straightforward.
Yeah.
You're going ooh, out, going to that place and everything.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting having that kind of like vibe. It actually is a little bit similar to Madameo in
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
Uh, like Madame was there was a lot more journeying in that than there was this one because they were on foot and they were trying to get to a certain place and there was a lot of stops and them running into things and stuff.
Yeah.
And this one there's a lot less of that to a degree. But yeah, it's just very interesting the
Yeah.
different kinds of plots you have in the
It's also
books.
different because we actually get a lot of detail about the island before we
Yeah,
ever even get there. Because I
it's
remember
true.
in Mariel, right, we had Gabul's island,
Mhm.
and we did get some things on the island, but the main focus was sort of Mariel's return to the island.
Yeah.
Where in this one, there's a main subplot, I guess, about the vermin
Yeah.
rebelling against Ublaz, and that sort of the Corsairs and Ublaz being in conflict
Yeah.
is a pretty main storyline in this. So there it's just really interesting. I want to move into characters because there's a few things I want to talk about.
Yeah. Wait,
Obviously,
Kaylin,
what?
we didn't talk about Saint Ninians.
Oh, I forgot about that. I remembered and I forgot about that. Right, Saint Ninians. We Some of you listening might remember Saint Ninians from our Redwall and Madame Mayo books, which were feels like so long ago, Brianna.
Yeah, it
Um,
kind of
it kind of
was.
was. I know, but that's just crazy to me. Um, Red, yeah. So Saint Ninians is where Clooney's horde hold up in Redwall, and there's also sort of the temporary base of Slagar during the time of Matthias,
Yeah.
Matameo, I mean. Um, Important to note because actually not Martin's gone at that point. Who was it that actually burns it down? It's Skipper, it's somebody else.
It was
Is
Skipper
it Rollo? It might have been Rollo.
was Rollo the one that said to burn it down? He might have been. That kind of makes sense actually.
Hang on. I'm almost there. Ah, it is Rollo. Yeah. He handed it, he opened, Skipper was not gone long. As he emerged, everyone held their breath. He opened his paw to reveal the fourth pearl nestling in his palm. He handed it to Rollo, who clasped it tightly. Now, I want you to put flame to this place and burn it down. Skipper's voice registered in his incredulity. Nope, his incredulity. Wow, that's a tough word to say.
Incredulity.
Incredulity.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me that you're the one correcting me on how to say something. No
I know. I
offense. But
usually am terrible at knowing how to say words.
at the proposal, burn it down? But there was no hesitation in Rollo's determined mood. I burn it down until it was just a heap of rubble and bad memories. This has become a place of evil. I've read in the Abbey records that on 2 occasions the enemies of Redwall used this place as a refuge. The first was Clooney the Scourge in the time of Matthias the Warrior. Then there was Slegar the Cruel in the time of Matameo when I was but a Dibbin. Now it has been used a third time as a den of thieves and murderers. Burn it. Which is crazy to me, awesome to me, because I'm like, yes, this is a place that sometimes you just have to burn things down and start over, essentially.
Yeah.
Granted, they don't start over. There's just it's rubble. It's
Yeah.
burnt down. It's not a thing anymore. But Rollo's right. It was used by 2 quite evil creatures, and then now is the den of the jackdaws because people aren't living in it anymore, so there's nobody to
Yeah.
keep it going. But to think that like Gaunt's family or Gaunt's whatever came from that church, which we learned in Martin the Warrior, and oh no, sorry, in The Legend of Luke, that
It wasn't
Gonf has some sort of connection to Saint Ninian's. Remember when they were singing "This Ain't Ninian's Church"?
Caitlin, that was Martin, not Goth. That was so that song was during Luke's time, and it was Luke's people who were singing that because they're
Oh,
from Mossflower. So as Martin is connected to Mossflower, like his people are from there. He
okay.
didn't
You're right.
wasn't born there.
You're right. I'm remembering that now. But then Gonf's descendants lived in Saint Ninian's.
Not actually, because okay,
Okay,
think about
no, not yes, actually, is literally what it was said about Dandon. Dandon's a descendant of Gonf,
yeah,
and it said either in Dandon's story or in Outcast of Redwall, one of the two, that their people came from Saint Ninian's, or
okay.
like a few generations were spent in Saint Ninian's.
Which is interesting because during the times that we've seen the future bits with Gomp and everything, when like set after Mossflower, they like literally are at the Abbey every day
That's
and
because
stuff.
I don't think Gonf lived there. I think some of his descendants lived there. Some of his children or grandchildren or whatever it was lived there.
Which is interesting again because Brian never shows that in the text at all. Because like the amount of time between let's say Martin
Mhm.
and Outcast, or even originally because not Martin, sorry, is Luke, Legend of Luke, the time between Mossflower and Legend of Luke isn't that long and everything. And even between what's it called? Mossflower and the Outcast Redwall. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Which Outcast was before Legend of Luke written wise and
Mhm.
stuff. Like the people they reference as Gomph's descendants don't ever mention having other like it that's one of the inconsistencies that bothers me a little bit
Mhm.
because we're using the three that are very close to that time period.
Mhm.
So Mossflower, when all that stuff happens. Then we have Legend of Luke, but Legend of Luke was written after
Mhm.
the Outcast of Redwall, but Outcast of Redwall is further in the timeline than
Mhm.
Luke is. It's confusion. But Bryony,
Yeah.
Bryony,
Yes.
is the most closest descendant mentioned on the
Yes.
page of Gomps, but has no other family that is spoken
Yes.
of. And then we skip ahead to Mariel, where Dandon is also referenced as Gon's descendant
Yes.
and has no, honestly, the time wise makes a little bit more sense why he would have no family at all, more so than Bryony. The
Yes.
thing I honestly wish they would have completely removed her connection. Actually, that's something I would say if you ever adapted this is like, do not mention she's Gom's descendant
Right.
because
Yeah.
it does nothing for the story at all. at
None.
all.
Not
She
nothing.
doesn't do anything that connects her with him, like that makes sense, like, oh yeah, they're related
Hmm.
at all. And her character just like makes no sense with being connected
Hmm.
to that and stuff. So very interesting stuff. But on the page, going back to the Saint Ninians thing, we never see anybody except for the church mouse. They lived there apparently. But again, it was very like we never actually see them live there. They like lived there at the very beginning and then couldn't live in there after Clooney took over in Redwall and stuff.
And
So
then stayed at Redwall forever.
forever. So very interesting.
Yeah. Yes, I completely agree. And it makes sense why he burned it because it's just okay, he being Brian, why he completely removed it. Because
Mhm.
it never added anything to the story, essentially.
No, but also it's funny because then he referenced it again in Luke because Luke was written after this too
It was
and
written
stuff.
after this, but it was set before it.
For the yeah.
So he was trying to add some continuity to it, which we just know from Star Wars you can't do. You can't
No.
just add continuity to something and be like, yeah, this fits.
Yeah.
Sure. Doesn't make any sense. I'm
No.
sorry, Brian. You did not have a master plan of plot and timelines and things like that.
Well, the
Unless
thing
you
is not
did.
you didn't have to have a master plan. It's just I did actually see recently, for anybody that reads sci-fi fantasy, you'll probably know the name Terry Brooks. And that guy's been writing since the 70s or 80s. I'm not totally sure when he first started. I mean, it may even be further back, I'm not sure. But his most known work is the Shannara series.
Mhm.
And he was recently quoted as like, I'm not going to remember all of that. And he's written, even in the last decade, I feel like stuff that's connected to that world. And he's like, I do respect what he said a little bit because he's like, I'm not gonna remember all of it, but other people will remember for me. I'm like, yeah, everybody's making wiki pages. So
It's
it's like you
true.
can just go back and reference. But that's the kind of the thing is making these long series is very interesting because then you run into issues like we talked about in Legend of Luke
Mhm.
last time, where you have a character, Tim Ballisto,
Mhm.
who is referenced as having a descendant, but then you, in a different book that was written after that one, is killed, like dies too early to have had a descendant and everything and stuff. So like that's part of my thing is like if you're gonna start writing prequel stuff, go back to what you've written already and like check that out. And I know that's not what makes you money, like, but that's I appreciate connectivity and everything. It's okay sometimes here or there, uh, where things are a little bit off, but I'm like big stuff.
Yeah.
Let's check our sources, which are
Yeah.
you and everything. So,
But
yeah,
this is what I'm trying to say about having a timeline.
yeah,
Like if you're writing stuff all in the same world that isn't immediately connected. So someone like Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archive, the
mm,
first 5 books, they are essentially one right after the other. It
yeah,
is it is in the book there's jumping around or time skips, I guess, because there's, it happens in a book. And obviously if you're writing it in a book, you can kind of control the setting, you can control how long is a gap between this piece to this piece, and you can kind of control the timeline a little bit more practically. But if you're doing something multiple books in a series, um you have to choose, is this one right after the other? Is there a time skip? Or what am I doing? But when you do anything that's prequel related, you have to look at your source material. And it's better, in my opinion, if you're going to be doing something like that. This is the thing that I really struggled with Star Wars. I love Star Wars, but I really struggle with it because you got the first 3 movies, 4, 5, 6, and you've got all this stuff that's laid out in there. And then you go back to the prequels and you're like, what if we did these completely random things that are literally never mentioned in the original text, in the
yeah,
original things, and we're going to add a whole bunch of stuff in that is literally never mentioned,
yeah.
even though it absolutely should be mentioned.
Or how there's like a new Jedi that shouldn't have been alive during the time when all Jedi were killed. I mean, that you can make explanations about that stuff, but like after a while, you're like, okay, I guess there's just another Jedi.
Literally every single time we get a new piece of media that's like, this Jedi survived, and you're just like, wow, the Empire really was bad at
Yeah.
doing its job. Like it failed so many times. We've eliminated all of the Jedi. You've forgotten Kanan Jarrus. You forgot Luke, who became a Jedi, technically wasn't a Jedi. Yoda wasn't even dead. Luke
Leia,
Ezra, Leia, who sort of
yeah,
became a Jedi, kind of depending on who you ask.
yeah.
You forgotten oh my gosh, what's that lady who is technically a Sith but then became a Jedi?
Mara?
Or no, she wasn't real. I'm talking canon, Brianna.
Mara was canon until they took
She's
her
not
out
canon anymore.
because the stupid new movies.
Yes.
I
Anyway,
liked Mara. I'm sorry.
I know you did. This isn't a book about Mara, or this isn't a
Okay.
podcast about Mara Jade. All I'm saying, if you're writing stories and you want something that's a long-term series, if you're going to write prequels, look at what you've already written, what seeds have you already sown, and how can you flesh those seeds out in a prequel story. Again, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Robin McKinley with the Blue Sword and the Hero and the Crown, I think actually did quite a good job of that because
Yeah.
she mentioned a bunch of things that Aaron did. And then in the book about Aaron, fleshed those things out and added more that would have been lost to history, obviously, because that was 500 years
Yeah.
before. She did a great job. So that's all I have to say about that, Brianna. That's not all I have to say about that. Let's be real.
No.
That's all I have time to say about
Yeah.
that on this particular day.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, let's talk about our favorite characters.
Okay.
You go first.
All right. So my two favorite characters were Grath and Tansy.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't talked a lot about Grath
Nope. Which is
through
funny
all of it.
because it's literally her family, which is the main character.
Yeah. It, yeah, it's very interesting. But so quick lowdown, Grath is an otter. She's cool.
She is cool.
She's super, super cool. One of our top, like, honestly, I'm a little bit disappointed that she did go off to a like island and everything because I
Secret
would have
tunnel.
loved seeing a continuation of like
Secret
her
tunnel.
character, her family later on, but
Through the
it is what it is.
mountains.
Okay, Kaytlyn,
Secret, 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 secret tunnel.
are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Secret. I'm just kidding.
gosh. So Grath's family was killed. She was the only one that survived. She barely survived and was taken care of by I think a couple of bankfuls or something who helped her stay alive.
Stay alive. Stay alive. Stay alive.
Kayla. So Grath survived. Her
I'm a
weapon is like this
survivor.
long.
I
Oh
know.
my God, Kayla. Kayla. Okay.
Keep going.
All right. Her weapon is a longbow, and she has these special arrows that have like green feathers attached to them and stuff. It's very distinct. And Grath is just really cool. I don't know. It's funny because she's kind of technically an archetype that usually is a male character. Uses
Mhm.
it with the male character, like my family was killed, my wife was killed. I am now out for
My
revenge.
name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
I a little bit hate to one for one because Grath isn't as funny as Inigo
Oh,
is
100%. Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. But she does have a sense of humor. So
Mhm.
once she actually is with like she meets the Gaussum before she meets anybody else and like makes a connection. And once she has some time to be with other folks, she's a lot like is able to be funny and like or not be funny, but like have fun moments with people and stuff
Mhm.
and not be fully just immersed in revenge. Like she isn't like super edgy. I can't have a good time with anybody, which is actually the
Right.
thing I really appreciate about a lot of Brian's characters is even the really serious ones usually are like they have something else going on. Like they aren't just this is my purpose and I will not have any other emotions besides
Mm.
revenge kind of a thing. And in
Right.
this one Grath, we get to see her grow more as she like does go out to seek her revenge. Nobody's trying to stop her. People are trying to help her. That's one of the things that kind of annoys me sometimes in stuff when it's like, what will revenge do for you? It'll make you just like them or something. I'm like, excuse me, this person murdered their whole family. I don't think that
Yeah.
you stopping them is making them a better person whatsoever, or
Yeah.
whatever, that kind of stuff. I get where like where things are coming from sometimes with it, and sometimes you do need to be like, okay, what's the real purpose behind this and stuff. But
Yeah, absolutely.
sometimes that bad guy's just evil and he needs to go.
Yep.
And so that's something I appreciate in this is like none of them were like, Grath, you can't do this. This will make you lose your humanity or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, those people killed my family. They do not deserve to live, kind of a
Yeah.
thing. So it's very interesting. Grath as a character, getting to see that like hard-edged, revenge seeking,
Yeah.
all that kind of thing. And then we also get to see a little bit of her. It's not even really her falling in love, but it is at the same time. Like
Hmm.
there's definitely something there between her and Secret Otter or Secret Island Otter guy. What was his name again?
In bar.
Imbar. There's definitely like something there between them. They highly respect each other. He had red fletched arrows. So
Whoa.
they were
Saucy.
attracted to each other because of their arrows. No.
I
Uh
mean,
yeah, I do
it
think
was
that was
absolutely like when they first met each other, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's like, oh, you shoot bow? Oh yeah, you
yeah,
shoot a bow? Wow.
yeah.
Let's
It's
have a
like
competition to see who's farther.
yeah, we have a similarity
Yes.
and also you're both like hot in the terms of what I think is hot kind of a thing and stuff.
Yep.
Cool.
You're also an
So,
otter, avid otter. I mean,
yeah. So we get to see
also I
Graph.
love that his dad and then Martin are both like wink, 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 wink.
Yeah, I did. So one of the things, okay, finish the Graph bit.
Yes, sorry.
Graph, love Graph, really cool, get stuff done, all those kinds of things. Then I love Tansy.
Yes.
Tansy, I definitely remember loving Tansy when I was younger, and
Yeah.
I was again more the same age-ish at different points when I was reading this to her, so I had a little bit more connection to her because of all of that. And I love how sassy she is, but still is very intelligent. Like they said, she has a good head on her shoulders, but she still makes mistakes. Like she got in trouble for being very rude to the Viola at one point and
Yep.
everything. There's some stuff about her character that I'd love to talk about, but it'll have to wait till the next one because that's when she's an
Yep.
adult
Yep.
and
Yep. Yep.
kind of
Yep.
that thing. But I also love how and this is goes with a lot of the characters, how still like much she still loves the kids and like
Absolutely. Yeah.
She's just her and Arvin are buddies.
Hmm.
Like they are like older sister, younger brother vibe, 100%. Like she loves him dearly.
Yeah.
She took him out the first time she was gonna go out. Like it's just I really love their dynamic when they're like the little and everything and stuff.
Hmm.
So Tansy's just I think a great character and like how kind and sassy she is, I
Yeah.
think is like her whole vibe. Um, I will give a shout out to Martin.
Hmm.
I didn't remember him as well. Like I remembered he was in this book,
Yeah.
but like he didn't stand out to me, I think, back then. But now, like he stands out to me more than some of the other warriors that I kind of see in some of the books, which I will give away something from the next book if I mention this now. But Martin is very much like the dad of the Abbey.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
Abbot Durrell is like an old man. He's like very old. He's like grandpa. Martin's the dad. Like,
Hmm.
and I 100% appreciated that about him and all of this. And I honestly liked him a lot more than his dad. But that I realized part of the problem is we only ever got to see Matteo as a
Yeah.
dumb teenager and never as an adult, like we got to
Yeah.
see with Matthias and in this case Martin and everything. So we get to see Martin's final form only in this, and that we get to see him as an adult. So I was able to appreciate him more as a character in this as an adult than I did when I was younger. And I
Yeah.
honestly, he would be at some point I would love to do this, do a tier list of warriors and like abbots and abbesses and like a couple of other big parts that we have.
Hmm.
But he definitely would be more towards the top than he would have originally, from what I vaguely remember as a kid
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you about Grath and Tansy. Actually, I think of all the characters, they're probably my top two.
Yeah.
Just because they're Grath's just a really cool character. And
Yeah.
I honestly, we haven't, like you said earlier, we haven't talked a lot about her, just because there are some other characters, I guess, that were a bit more
Yeah.
main charactery. Tansy is definitely main character of Pearls of Lutra.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
but I want to make another shout out, or this is one of my other favorite characters, is Rollo the Bankful.
Oh yeah.
Because he's just often we get bankful creatures that and previously up to this point, most of the bankfuls have been really obnoxious and really annoying, and we all remember Colin,
Oh yeah.
who is the worst. And
He
then
was.
Cynthia, I think, in Madame Mayo,
And then
right?
we also have Viola in this one.
Viola, but
But
she's less
Viola,
annoying and she's not actually annoying
no,
after
yeah.
she gets kidnapped.
Yeah.
She makes some stupid choices, but she's a teenager, and which teenager
Yeah.
doesn't make some dumb choices
She is
now and again?
snooty, but she's not
Yeah.
selfish, is the
Yes.
thing.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, so but Rollo, I think, as an elder of Redwall,
Mm.
he I love his character. He's sort of the more at times serious, at times funny character
Yeah.
in the thing. And I love a character that has a range of emotions and can show you the full range of those things. You
Yep.
don't like Arvin's whole vibe is I'm a little Dibbin and I'm chaos incarnate and that is it.
Yeah.
And then you've got Martin who's like I'm serious warrior and yeah, kind of joke here and there, whatever, but I've got sort of my role that I'm playing.
Yeah.
Where Rolo can be funny, sort of hike up my robes and run away really fast because I'm still spry as an old man type thing. It reminds
He's like
me,
a fun old uncle, is
yeah,
the vibe he
he
gives
reminds
off.
me a bit of in the 2020 Emma, the dad,
Oh,
Mr. Woodhouse, I think.
that's such a good connection. Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
it's so good. I just made that connection in my head too. It's so
He's
good,
just
so
a
good.
little bit less like
Neurotic.
neurotic, thank you.
Yes, yes, 100%.
Yeah.
But that's where the other side of him comes in is sort of the
Yeah.
calm, sitting by the fire, you
Yeah.
know, I'm sitting here with these young women planning out this whole not planning but like trying to solve this riddle and not only that, one of the things I just love about Redwall so much is how intergenerational everything is. That
Yeah.
it is always and almost always, maybe not always, say almost always, an elder of some kind paired with a
Hmm.
teen or young person, and then there's also a Dibbin thrown in the
Yeah.
mix. Like you've got the whole gamut of everybody, and then you've got the
Yep.
actual adults that are doing some. Like I love how intergenerational it is. I love
Yeah.
how obviously in a book where there's multiple species, you don't quite have diversity in the same way that with humans, we're all humans and there's like
Yeah.
different ethnicities, cultures, and things like that. But in Redball, there's almost always in the context of World of Redwall, an incredible amount of diversity, both
Yeah.
in terms of species represented in Redwall. You also have the ages represented in Redwall. You also have duties and responsibilities and roles that
Yeah.
are very different. And it's just, I think it's really cool. And it's something I've always really loved about the Redwall series is
Yeah.
how it never feels like Redwall is just for the mice. Okay, that's not true. There's a couple of books that it does feel like it's just for the mice.
We
But
clarification is not perfect. Like we still have
yeah,
issue with the vermin and everything like
yeah.
that. Like that's part of like a problem. But I see the heart behind
Mhm.
what Brian was trying to do with what he was doing. It wasn't perfect, but it's still at the heart of it is about community and coming together, and it's not just about one group kind of a thing. And
And
like you're,
I will say, yes, we do have sort of an issue with saying all of one species is bad.
yeah,
At the same time, and so I do get there's not a lot of nuance there. At the same time, there's consistency. Brian does have consistency in like this is evil and this is good. So like with
yeah,
humans, there is no all of one ethnicity or all of one culture is bad. Like there's no people are complex, more complex than that.
my issue is when he starts playing around with they could be good kind of a thing and stuff.
Outcast of Redwall
Uh,
is what we have an issue with,
yeah,
Brianna.
Outcast is the biggest one, but there's other times
It
where
is
he
grievous.
has it is yeah. But my other issue, not going too deep into this, but like there's times where we do have vermin that definitely end up being kind or
Hmm.
like get brought into the fold for whatever reason, but they're
Hmm.
usually stupid and
Yeah.
stuff. And so like
This
again, yeah,
in this book, we have Ramska, who is the captain of the ship that
yes.
Abadurl was sailing on. She was
Yeah.
not stupid. She did
No.
die, but that is also
She
because she
also
defended Durrell.
she did. I will give her that. It people can be redeemed and
Mhm.
change and make better choices, but she also was one of the people that killed Grath's whole family. So like
Yeah.
that like she is a nuanced vermin. I will like
Mhm.
I give that to her. Like I actually super appreciate that. She's also she's a woman. Obviously she's a creature in this and everything. She's
Mhm.
like a female ferret, I think.
Mhm.
And so like it was nice seeing a bad guy who was a
Yeah.
female character and stuff because like that doesn't always happen in certain things, and it was less so in some of the other books with them
Mhm.
being underlings, like because we've had Sarmina at one
Mhm.
point in the earlier books and stuff before this, but like generally not the underlings have really been women at all, so like it was kind of nice seeing more of that in this. uh so yeah, but yeah,
Yes.
there's Brian definitely attempted to do nuance and things. Sometimes he did well, sometimes he didn't.
Mhm.
Outcast didn't do a
Bad.
good job.
Bad, bad, bad.
Yeah. This one with Romska was a little bit better, and she still died at the end. Like
Mhm.
that kind of a character you can't really redeem super well.
Kylo Ren.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that kind of a thing. But yeah, sorry. Continue.
I don't think I have. We've already gone at this for a really long time. We have to end it, or else it's just gonna
Wait,
be a super long episode.
shout out really quickly.
Okay.
The worst hair,
Oh, Klecky. Yeah.
Klecky. The worst hair that we've had in the whole series.
He was so annoying
Klecky.
the
He was
entire
so
time.
annoying.
And
Like he
especially
helped at the very end more so than he did at the beginning, but like,
he was
ugh,
so annoying every corner, every time.
yeah.
Especially now reading The Long Patrol, following
Yeah.
up that, like I just the the difference is giving me whiplash, is what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say. That's how I feel about this.
Yep.
I'm getting whiplash from reading these two things. I'm like, wow, talk about the worst hair in the series.
Yep.
No offense,
He
Clucky,
just
but also
was
some offense,
he was
Clucky.
chaos, but not
Not in a good
fun
way. Hmm.
chaos. It was, and like him and the owl did more than
Yeah.
he did, and he was also chaos
Hmm.
and stuff. Like multiple times, the owl, I think his name was
Geralt.
Geralt or something like that. He had a Scottish accent, but for some
Hmm.
reason Clecky didn't. But even though Clecky was from the Northern Mountains. So the owl, Geralt, was like more helpful in figuring out clues because he stayed behind.
Yeah.
And Cleckley was helpful when they had to fight. We'll say that. But
Sure.
overall, with almost any other thing, not helpful. And so
Yeah.
it's like I don't mind a Chaos Gremlin hair because we've had so many of them. Uh, and then yeah, so Klecky, just shout out to Leith's favorite hair in the whole
Amen.
series. Yeah,
That's so true. All
yeah.
right, Brianna, what's your nostalgia rating? And make it quick.
I want to give this a 4.5, honestly.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, because I this was like such a good beginning to the rest of our the rest of the series for us at this point. It's a little, we didn't read this in publication order. We're reading this in a weird order, and now we're going straight forward chronologically. Everything after this is like one right after the other.
Yeah.
And I felt like this was such a good beginning. It gave me a new perspective on characters that I didn't know, like have a perspective on before. Uh I was like reminiscing about things of like, oh yeah, like more so than I was most of the other books that we've been reading up to this point. So that's why it has such a high rating for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me it's a 3.5.
Mm,
Just because I have read it more than some of the others. I do appreciate it. I did
mm.
speed read it this time. I won't lie to you. It was a I said that to my roommates and they were like, "You mean regular reading?" And I was like, "First of all, rude. Second of all, no, I read it even faster this time because I was trying
Even
to
faster.
get it finished for this podcast." Um But yeah, I don't know. There's just other ones that I liked a lot more, and
Mhm.
they're coming up. Frankly, they're
Yeah.
coming up real soon. And actually, the next three episodes are some of my favorites that I've reread many, many, many times.
Yeah.
Um, my last thing to say, before I read our little outro is one of the things that got me the hardest in this book and that made me the most emotional was at the very end
Mhm.
when Martin is fighting Ublas. They're
Yeah.
engaging, they're doing their combat-y thing. Ublas steps on the snake on accident and dies. And
Oh,
he's trying to like get his last word in because why not?
yeah.
And Martin, oh my gosh, okay. I'm just gonna read it. I'm not gonna shout it, don't worry. I live here. Um, in a place I don't want to shout. Yeah, so it says Ublaz is saying no beast was mightier than me. Emperor, I was emperor. Martin looped the crown onto his belt and squatted facing the dying Pine Martin. So, yours wasn't the last name I heard, but here's the last name you'll ever hear. I say it for a friend whose kin you had murdered for a half dozen pearls. Martin brought his face closer to Ublaz and roared aloud, Holt Lutra. I think it's just really poetic. And
I think that's why the like now Martin is one of my favorite warriors.
yeah,
Yeah.
Martin too, Martin the second.
Martin too. Martin the second.
Yeah, I think just there's an emotional maturity in knowing that even though Martin's the one that defeated, well, okay, technically the snake's the one that defeated Ublaz, let's be real.
Yeah.
Not the first time that has happened.
No, yeah.
The dangerous creature that the villain is keeping and locked in his basement is ends up being the one that kills him instead of the red wall of people,
Yeah.
which is a bit of a cop out in my opinion, but it's fine. Um, but the fact that Martin has this awareness of it is not my revenge. It is not justice for my people that I'm here for. That actually it's grass people that I'm here to get justice for. And that I read that and I just like teared up because there's something so powerful because Martin's a warrior of Redwall. His whole life is spent at Redwall.
Yeah.
He's got a hereditary tie to Redwall, not just in genetics with his parents and grandparents, um, but also his namesake being the ancient warrior of Redwall. It's just absolutely he is a
Yeah.
Redwall creature through and through. And yet he
Absolutely.
recognizes it is Holt Lutra that needs justice in this moment. And so I'm going to shout their name. I'm
Yeah.
not going to shout Redwall. It was just really beautiful. So
Yeah.
you have any last
Yeah.
thoughts before I read our outro and actually end this episode?
No, I think I'm good with this.
We spent so long talking about puzzles at the beginning. I think that was where we went wrong on this day. Was
Eh.
that and my comments about the weather. I think I just threw us off.
Maybe also the singing.
I don't know what you're talking about. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Readers Clubhouse. If you like this discussion and you want to hear more, you can find us on YouTube and Spotify every other Friday. Check the episode description for our socials. Join us in the Clubhouse next time as we discuss The Long Patrol by Brian Jakes. And Kaytlyn probably will sing some more things. Let's be real.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, indeed. I agree. I will not be putting out an album anytime soon. Let me tell you.
Oh boy.
Right. We will see you guys in a couple of weeks. Bye!
Bye.